Have you ever looked at all the gear musicians use and wonder, how does it all work? My name's Dustin, and my family and I are setting out on a quest to inspire both adult and kid musicians to create new sounds together and learn all about what it takes to produce great music. We'd like to invite you along on the journey as we explore the gear professional studios, musicians, and hobbyists use to create their art. We'll take a close-up look at the gear and ask,
what's this button do?
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of What's This Button Do? I'm your host, Dustin. This is part 2 of our Pedalboard 101 series, and this is all based on a special live event that I'm going to be doing at several of the Palen locations over the course of the summer. I got asked by Marla to come down and do a little bit of a pedalboard clinic. Actually, as of taping of this week on the 21st of June in 2024, I'm going to be in shop on Friday at 5 o'clock to walk over building pedal boards, help people tweak their boards. You can bring in your own board, do whatever you want. We're going to make a little fun event of it. So I thought in honor of that, I would make a board to bring to the event. And you guys know me, I love pedals. I am a crazy pedal fiend. So I thought, okay, I'm going to whip together a board. I'm going to get one power supply on it with 7 outlets. So I need to limit my pedal board to 7 pedals. And on top of that, I want to get out of my comfort zone. So I'm only going to choose pedals that are not on my main studio board because I want to bring some fun stuff to show to people. So today I thought I would walk you through the pedals that I picked out, talk a little bit about why, and then I want to make this an interactive experience. So I'm hoping some of you will come out to Palen as I do these events, bring your pedal boards out. Let's play with them, have some fun with them, and discuss them. And I'll be bringing the board that I build today on the show with me, so you can mess around with it, hear some sounds to it, and give your suggestions on how you would tweak it. But please, please, please comment down below. I want you to think about this challenge. If you could only pick 7 pedals to take with you for any genre of music to be able to just have fun and mix things up, what 7 pedals would you pick? Put the comments down below. Now for myself, I added a little bit of a challenge to this because I'm going to be using this Emerson custom board, which is one of my favorite little boards. I love taking this out to gigs with me. I've got a little Chalk 7 power supply down here, so I have 7 different amounts of power that I can supply. So I'm going to be able to power 7 pedals with this. So I wanted to take something that when somebody came to try it out, it would be able to plug into any amp that they wanted to plug it into and be able to at least play sounds from just about any genre of music that you needed. But I also wanted to limit myself. So I set up some rules for this event. First of all, I want all of the pedals that I pick out to be something that you could buy either today in the store if you went to Palen, or at least be able to find them on Reverb. And I also promised myself I would limit the pedals to be stuff that was less than $300, and I wanted the majority of it to be less than $200 with its cost. I was able to do that. I am going to allow myself one little cheat because I have a pedal that costs less than $300, but now used, they've kind of skyrocketed in value, but I really want it on the board because it's my favorite tremolo of all time. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's talk a little bit about the signal chain. Now, I only have 7 pedals to work with. So the first thing I had to decide is the number 1 pedal that you want on any board is a tuner. And usually I use this little micro polytune whenever I go out on a gig. But I'm limited to 7 pedals here. And you know what? Those little snark tuners, they do a decent job. It's not something that I love to rely on, but for this situation when I'm limited on space and I have to choose, like, do I use a power supply spot to power my tuner or not? I'm going to go not, and I'm going to leave the tuner off the board, and I'm going to rely on my snark to do my tuning. That way I've got more spots on the board because I want to be able to do a little bit of everything. Now, for anyone who knows me knows that the thing that I love more than anything else in the whole wide world of guitar is fuzz. So I had to think, okay, what fuzz pedal do I want to put on this board? And there was a bazillion different options. I debated this. And really, it wasn't until I started laying out pedals on the board trying to figure out what I wanted to do. But I decided to go with the Mythos AU fuzz. This was a special version of their fuzz that they did a while back for Mass Street. And it is insanely good. The fuzz sound is just gnarly. Play you a little sample of it here. Just killer. I think that'll do most of what I want to do with a fuzz. So I think that's the perfect fuzz to get us started, and we're not losing a lot of real estate on that. Now, I'm not a big mini pedal guy, but I stayed with this theme for my second pedal because the MXR Duke of Tone, I couldn't take my King of Tone. That was one of the rules. It broke too many rules. One, it's on my main board, and two, it's an expensive freaking pedal. So I decided not to put that on the board. But I will say MXR's little Duke of Tone, while not as good as the King of Tone, it does a whole lot of bang for a very inexpensive buck. It sounds killer. I love the different versions, and I like that you can use it as an OD, a boost, or a distortion pedal. You can switch through the 3 modes. Let's take a little listen to it right here. Here, it's just a great little boost, a good little drive, and honestly, I didn't put the distortion pedal in there part of it, but if I need to kick in a little distortion, it can even do a pretty decent distortion to boost things up, and especially if you're running this in front of a already kind of distorted amp. So if we get out a katana or something, we run it on the distortion side, you can really use this to push it into some extra edge. I think it'll be a good add to the board. But I don't want to forget my friends in metal world. If somebody comes to one of these clinics and they want to rock some metal, I don't want to leave them hanging. So I can't think of a better pedal to put on there than the Vital DS by my friends over at LSL. You guys have heard me talk about this on the show before. I love this pedal. I love it as a drive. I love it as a distortion. I even love it as a boost. This does a little bit of everything, but when you crank this bad boy, you can get some serious tool sounds that can absolutely kill it. Let's take a little listen to an excerpt from my previous show on this. So you can hear, sounds freaking awesome. Like, I love this pedal. I think this is going to be great for those distorted tones. It's going to absolutely rock. Now we start getting weird because I started thinking, okay, I've got 4 pedals left. I know I'm going to want a reverb and a delay for sure. But what are the 2 other sounds that I want to make sure to have on my board? And lately, a sound that I cannot live without has come from my Lysis from Solid Gold Effects, the octave sound, and I use a fuzz compared with that. That's what the Lysis does, but it's an octave and a fuzz, and I also find myself using the Digitech whammy more and more every day. So I thought about putting the little whammy ricochet on the board, but then I decided no. One of my favorite octaves of all time is the Boss OC5, and this is kind of based on the OC2, but a much better version of it. This is a more recent release. This thing can do it all. It sounds amazing with guitar, bass, baritone. It can do some amazing octave ranges, and when you run a fuzz pedal into this bad boy, the sounds you can get are insane. Let's take a quick listen. So that thing's going to be a trip. I think people will really have fun with it, and I hope when they play with it with their boards, it'll sound really good. Plus, we got a little buffer in here to handle any kind of impedance issues with the cabling, and it just sounds good. It's just a dang good pedal, so I thought it was the perfect add-on to the board. Now, My next pedal is the one where I broke the rules a little bit. Remember at the beginning of this, I told you I picked a pedal that when I bought it followed the rules, but it's become a little bit more valuable nowadays. There's a brand that they actually carry over at Palen called Spaceman. And for those who haven't heard of it, they make some of the most amazing pedals in the world. I have yet to play a Spaceman pedal that I didn't love. Their Sputnik Fuzz is one of my favorite fuzz pedals of all time, just absolutely killer. But they are absolute geniuses. But they put out a pedal a while back that kind of went unnoticed for a little bit. A lot of people didn't really play on it, called the Voyager One. And the Voyager One, each one of theirs is named after a different kind of space theme. So you'll hear a lot of named after different NASA missions and things. But Voyager One was their optical analog tremolo. And this thing is all optical. It sounds amazing. It has a bazillion different functions. Someday I will do a full episode on this because I can't do it justice in 20 seconds, just playing you a little sound clip of it. But it is genuinely the best tremolo pedal I have ever played in my entire life. So I wanted to make sure this was on the board because if I had anybody who plays country, who plays rock but uses a lot of trim or just has wants that folksy trim tone, and in case we don't have a amp there with a good tube tremolo, this thing can do so much. And I love the envelope filter on this that allows you to kind of trigger the tremolo. It's phenomenal. So I'll let you hear a little listen of it, but this I really can't do enough justice to it. You got to come play this at one of our clinics, and if you can get your hands on one of these, if you're looking for a good tremolo, this is it. Don't hesitate, get one. They are amazing. For our last two pedals, we're of course going to do delay and reverb. Now, I could have gone crazy and went with the Strymon and put one of the new MXs on there, or some of the really cool heavy big box delays from Boss, but a lot of those are already on my main board, so I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something a little bit more compact, and I wanted to pick something that had some beautiful sounds. So the first thing I did is what I genuinely believe to be one of the best analog echo delays I've ever played in kind of that realm of the Deluxe Memory Man, but just the natural warble that you find on a really, really good echo. I don't think anybody does it better than our friends over at Mythos. The Oracle Echo is genuinely so simple. It's a time, feedback, and mix knob. There's nothing crazy here, but this is an all analog delay pedal that sounds gorgeous, can clean up really well, but also can get really, really psychedelic and wild if you pair it with the right pedals. It is so good and so clean and just sounds so beautiful and has its own character where it doesn't have the staleness of a lot of the digital delays that are out there. I don't know, I'm rambling. Listen to it. Watch how sensitive the Oracle is to my pick attack and how you can actually create a preamp overload. And then last but not least, this was the first pedal that I picked out. I knew I was going to do this the second that I had this in. I promised myself, you guys know I love wet, dry, wet. I am a guy who likes to set up 2 to 3 amps. I don't like running in mono, but I knew for this board, I wanted to have mono be a possibility. If people wanted to just plug into 1 amp, they could. But I also wanted to be able to do some stereo if somebody was so inclined and wanted to check out a couple amps in action. So I wanted to have a stereo pedal at the end of the chain. And there is no better stereo reverb in the world, and I will stand by this. I am willing to defend this with my whole honor. But the best reverb I have ever played in my life, and the reverb that actually changed reverb for me and made me suddenly discover this whole new world, is the Supermoon Eclipse by Mr. Black Pedals. What Jack has done here, number one, it's the first really true bypass stereo delay that is truly stereo. And he's written a whole piece on this. You can go on his website and actually read how stereo pedals that claim to be stereo are not really stereo. This is true stereo. But this thing is an absolute beast with some of the most gorgeous, amazing sounds you will ever hear from a reverb. It can be subtle, it can be simple, but it can also sound like this entire world swirling around you that just, you can get lost for days just playing some notes on this thing and letting yourself just dream. It is truly the most inspirational reverb pedal I've ever played. I can't say enough good things about it, but I can't wait to hear how people react when we get this live in the room on the day of the demo. So can't wait for you to come out and hear it, but here's a little snippet. Well, I hope this has got you excited to come to one of our events. If you're not able to make it, I totally understand. I will be doing more of these at different Palens across the country over the next couple of months. So don't fret if you can't make it to Wichita on the 21st. Not a problem. We'll see you at another event. And for those who can't make it, please comment down below. This is a fun community. We'd love to hear your ideas for a board. And you know what? If you ever want me to try whipping something together and showing you how something sounds with something else, and maybe putting together a little pedal board, you want me to experiment with stuff, comment down below and say, hey, put these 7 together, put these 5 pedals together, and let's hear how they sound. I am totally game for that. I want to get back to that when, like we used to do when I first started the show with the Palen pedal picking challenge, where we just picked some pedals and threw them together to see how they'd sound together. I want to get back to more of that. So let's have fun with that. Pick out some pedals that you want to hear. Let's do it together and we'll make that happen. If you don't get a chance to come to one of the events, don't fret. Follow us online, join the community online. Go check out Palen's website. They've got tons of pedals on there, some ideas for you, and we'll be sharing lots more videos in the future on building pedal boards, creating ideas, and letting you hear some ideas come together. So don't fret if you can't make it to one of our events. And as always, if you get a chance, please follow me on Instagram. We're going to be posting some more fun pedal adventures over there. I'll have lots of pictures and videos from the events I'll be sharing on there as well, showing you sounds that other people have put together and maybe just getting creative, and let's see what happens as we build these boards out. I want to share it with you, and I think that's going to be the easiest way. So I'll have that over there. Just give me a follow over at What's This Button Do Dustin on Instagram. I'll see you over there. Well, thank you so much for joining me this week. I really appreciate it. Can't wait to see those of you that can come to the events and talk to the rest of you soon. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week.